question in our how he would survive from day to day because of the depression. He had no job, so he would go out as a day laborer and work different jobs every day, and we sort of lived very frugally because of his income was affected by the depression. There was now no jobs, not just for my father, but for many people in that era. The economy just went flat, so it was a very big struggle for the family to keep food on the table even. So that's what I remember about my father, his job. He did numerous different jobs. He would do roofing, he would do farming, he would work on the railroad, but it was all from day. Didn't work. I was the second of 6 children, but my mother didn't work. Very few women in that era did go out of the house and work. It was something that you just did. You stayed home and took care of your family.
Family members might
Didn't have aunts, uncles, or cousins, but my grandmother, she worked in Rochester for a more affluent family than we were, and I have memories of my father and mother going to Rochester. She would have weekends off. She would come home with her meager earnings, which her meager earnings were very valuable to us, and she would stop on the way home and they would buy food for our family. So my grandmother did live part-time in with us and was very helpful to the family income. Well, our meals were very basic. Meat, potato, vegetable. There was no fast food, nothing available as far as fast food. And we would have many casseroles that would feed many, many people. And we were all fed very well. We had bread, we had the basics, but we had no frivolous fruits were not available like they are now. We just didn't have the well, I would say the variety that we have now. We had very basic, like I say, a meat, potato, and vegetable. And my mother could make a cake. If she didn't have an egg, which the cake required, she could make it and it turned out fine, and we survived on what we had. Never in my childhood went to a restaurant.
with that.
We did not have an inside bathroom. We had what everyone called as an outhouse, and I think I was in high school before we ever had indoor plumbing in our house, so a bathroom was just not in our home. Well, as a family, my mother she did not have an automatic washer or dryer. That was just unheard of. She would have to heat her water on the stove the night before. We had a reservoir on a wood burning or coal burning, I can't remember, stove, and that would heat all night. But I'll back up. That water was pumped out of a hand pump at our black cast iron sink in the kitchen, and pail by pail was put in the reservoir to heat for the laundry doing on Monday morning or whatever day that it took place. And we would start out with maybe a load of white clothes, and we would put them through the wringer into a galvanized tub full of water, and then would come the next load. And by the time my mother was done washing, she had probably done 5 loads with the same water. We didn't have the opportunity to change water. Water was scarce even. We had to pump it out of like I say, a hand pump from a well. And wash day was maybe all day long because it took so long. And then we would have to hang up the clothes. In the winter, we would hang them on our porch and they would freeze dry. They might be there for 2 or 3 days so we could bring them in. And I remember as a growing up girl, we didn't have very many pairs of socks, so I would have to iron mine to get them dry to wear.
Now, so soap was a luxury.
No. So it was much a change. I remember having, I'm trying to think, maybe 3 changes of clothes. That's all we had. In fact, when school started, we all got a new outfit, and that was quite exciting to get a brand new outfit of everything, undergarments and shoes and socks, and we made them last. We didn't think of going to a store and getting another pair of shoes to match another outfit. So clothing was at a minimum.
Did you go to the store to buy your clothes, or did you make them?
My mother usually sent through the catalog for them. No, we didn't make them. My mother was not a seamstress, so we didn't make them, but I don't remember going to a store to buy clothes. I remember she would order through a catalog. So.
Okay, and then
That was very interesting. We'd have to heat the water for that. And then we had a square galvanized tub, which we filled pail by pail again with the warm water that had been heated on our big iron stove in the kitchen. And we would make sure that all the doors were closed on the room we were in if it were wintertime to take our bath. And there were 6 children. Well, there were 5 at the time that this happened, but we all had the same bath water. The first one was lucky and had clean bath water. Then the next person just got in the same bathtub and same water and did their bath. And that was once a week. Nowadays, how is it? Every day.
right. Every day, sometimes twice a day.
And my mother, I have particular memories of my mother. She was very particular. We were all girls, and she was always very particular about washing our hair. So we would have to get on a chair, lean over this sink in the kitchen, and she would have heated water on the stove, then again to wash our hair, rinse our hair, and that is the way we did our shampooing. And sometimes we did not have shampoo as such. We used just regular soap.
Mm-hmm.
Something that stuck out in my mind was when we would go shopping. We lived near Victor, so we would go to Victor to the general store, which was food on one side and dry goods on the other. And we would go with my father, usually, or my mother sometimes, and you wouldn't be walking through the aisle with a grocery cart. There was no such thing as that. We would stand at the counter, and you'd call him the store clerk or whatever, would be told by you what you would like. Maybe you would need sugar, you would need flour, the basics. You would need, we didn't even have butter. We had oleo, which was a very unusual thing. They would give you a plastic container of oleo, and there would be a little coloring thing in the package. And we would take it home and put it over the register and squeeze that oleo till it turned yellow and it looked like butter. And there were no luxuries in this grocery store. It just seemed like we would go and get the basics. My father used to get himself a treat and share it with us if we begged. In the store was a huge barrel of chocolate drops, and he would order and get a bag of chocolate drops and put them in his coat pocket, and that was his luxury. And like I say, sometimes we would be able to share them with him. Another thing that I remember growing up was we had no refrigerator. We had an ice box. We had ice. I'm not sure. I don't know if my father had to go get it or if they delivered it.
Delivered.
There was an iceman. I guess you was called an iceman.
Yep.
And he would deliver a big chunk of ice. And I am sure that many times that ice ran out. So therefore our food would be not even under refrigeration. But to my knowledge, I don't know if any of it ever got spoiled. I don't remember that at all. But I do remember when the first refrigerator came into our kitchen. It was quite an exciting thing for me to see that refrigerator. And I was a junior in high school by then. So I do have memories of living in an era when there was no refrigerator. You would go to the phone if you wanted to call someone, and you would pick up the phone and you would dial 0, and that was the operator. The operator would come on, she'd say, "Number please," and we would give her the number of who we wanted to call. But I'll back up a bit. Sometimes when you picked up the phone, there was someone talking on it. So you had to wait your turn to use the telephone. And it was like a party line, called a party line, and there were 4 or 5 people on the same line as you were. So you had to be polite and wait your turn to use the phone. And that's so much changed now.
And you paid more if it was a longer distance call. If it was further away, you paid more.
You had to pay for all your calls that were long distance, and that took place quite a few years in my life, that we had long distance calls we had to pay for. But there was no such thing as all the modern technology now that we have. It boggles my mind.
Now I'm using my phone to videotape you. Tell the kids if they hear some crunching over here, say hi. That's my grandpa.
Oh.
Say hello.
Oh.
All right, thank you.